Hey, good morning, everybody. How y'all doing? This is your boy Rod Thomas Jr., and this is the real news behind the news. Yeah, today is Monday, August 5th, 2019. And real briefly, we're doing this video like this because for some reason Facebook still will not allow us to upload live videos. But that doesn't stop anything. Usually we take these videos like this straight to YouTube, but we're going to take this video straight to YouTube and Facebook. I hope I don't ruffle any feathers. And if you disagree with me on the subject that I'm about to talk about, hey, I'll be more than happy to hear your comments on it. But the truth is, there's a lot of questions that we here in America are not asking about all these mass shootings going on here in the good old United States of A. You know what I'm saying? They would like for us to believe that a bunch of people way over in Afghanistan and other places over there in the desert, places that don't even have electricity or running water, barely have electricity, don't even have electricity in most cases, barely have running water. People who can't even basically, escape hopelessness, poverty. They want us to believe that these people are our enemies. So we send tens and hundreds of billions of dollars over to the Middle East to fight these wars of so-called against terrorism. When in reality, right here on the streets of America, we're seeing more people getting killed by domestic terrorists, usually angry white men who are, and angry white boys. A lot of these cats ain't even in their mid-20s. And you're seeing all these shootings being broadcast, in such a horrific way, because again, we're not going to sit up here and say that these shootings aren't happening. But here at the Real News Behind the News, we see the bigger picture as to what's going on. We're being desensitized and being indoctrinated to accept a total police state, where here in America, the next 10 years, if they get their way with this indoctrination, the only people that's going to have guns are going to be the police and criminals. Now, what we try to get people to understand with this video is ask questions. Why are the people targeting the places that they are targeting? Because in most cases, these are gun-free zones, meaning that they can go in there and shoot with impunity and don't have to worry about nobody shooting back, because people inside those buildings that are getting shot are basically restricted from carrying weapons. So the first foremost, the killers know that they're going into gun-free zones, and they pretty much just basically like shooting fish in a barrel. Also, we have to ask the question, what is MK Ultra and all these other government experiments where they have been documented and on record saying that they have been experimenting over the years with certain forms of mind control, using heavy psychotropic and mind-altering drugs. Basically what happens is you have what's called a patsy, a person who's already depressed, who's looking for a friend, who's looking for a way out. So this person here, man, is a loner. He's an outsider. So you have government agencies that help him, basically get him on these antidepressants, these types of medications. And you have actual doctors who, again, this might sound like conspiracy, but you have doctors on the CIA payroll who specialize in manipulating the mental status of these already mentally and emotional vulnerable people. And they push them towards these things. Now these people go out and commit these acts of violence, you know what I'm saying? And the first thing that the mainstream media does is throw it up in your face that, hey, this dude used the AK-47 to shoot up this mall. But how come it is that over the last year or so, you'd had 4 or 5 mass shootings that could have been mass shootings that were stopped because people in the crowd had weapons and were able to fire back? You don't see those stories there on the news. So they're showing you all these stories here to get you all emotionally riled up and willing to give your guns away. What's the best way to de-arm a population? You don't go and physically try to take their guns away. Your first and foremost objective is to make them voluntarily give their guns away. So when you keep seeing all these innocent people getting shot at these mass shootings, that strokes your emotions, and it basically subliminally speaks to you as in a manner of way, we got to do something about these guns. We got to get these guns off the street. So now you're more and more willing to give up your right to carry a gun, when in reality, criminals get their guns illegally. These white boys, they're getting their guns legally. Either way it goes, guns are going to be gotten, but it's going to be the average citizen, the average law-abiding citizen, who's not going to be able to protect himself because he doesn't have a gun. Again, I ask the question, do you really want to live in a world here in America, especially for black people, where the only people got guns are the shooters and killers and the police? How are you going to protect yourself? So again, you got to ask yourself, how come they don't never show you the shootings on TV where they were stopped because somebody in that crowd had a gun and fired back at the potential mass shooter? And again, we also have to ask, in the bigger picture, why is it that as soon as something like this happens, there's a push to take everybody's gun? Now, me being a convicted felon, I'm talking this, and it's a moot point because I can't even own a firearm. If somebody allegedly try to break in my house or kick my door in, I'm supposed to call the police, first of all. You know, so I'm already at a disadvantage. I'm not allowed to have guns. Now, they're going to eventually consider mental illness as the main reason. Well, they're doing it all across the country. Mental illness is the main reason to deny you the right to bear arms. But guess what? Clinically, there's over 170-something mental illnesses out there, and either one of them they can target you with and deny you from getting a weapon. So again, when you see these mass shootings, we as black folks, yeah, we like to point out the fact of the racial tone and aspect of it, how black men are getting shot down unarmed, and these white dudes are able to go in and kill all these people, and they're apprehended without incident. But it's bigger than a racial issue, because the whole agenda is to take everybody's guns using these type of events and false flags. So black people, let's not get so much caught up in the racist aspect of it. Let's get an understanding of why this is actually happening. And you'll find that it's bigger than racism, and at the same time they're accomplishing another agenda, because they'll continue to stroke the racial hatred here in America. Because if you look at the average black person's Facebook post concerning these mass shootings, it's always pointing out the fact that the white boys are going to jail, they're being apprehended and going to jail, whereas we getting shot and choked down and beat up right here on the streets. Yeah, that is a factor that we must address, but the issue of these mass shootings is way bigger than that, because they trying to take everybody's guns. They're trying to put us all under a police state. They're trying to put us all in a vulnerable position where they are the only ones to have guns. Those, when I say they, meaning those who make the laws, those who are in power, and those people who enforce the laws, meaning the politicians and the police. And then those same people know that if they allow these criminals to continue to get access to guns, the average citizen who no longer now is able to carry guns will have to depend on the politicians to save us from the big bad enemies. So again, look deeper. You'll never see the bigger picture, man, looking at one piece of the puzzle. And this puzzle goes way bigger, man, than just some crazy dude shooting up the place. You have to ask, what would drive a person to do something like that? Because a person in their right mind would not do it, and the truth is, they're not in their right mind. The one thing that all these mass shooters have in common, pretty much, is that they all are on or detoxing from these dangerous antidepressants, which tells you that the main side effect is violent or suicidal behavior. So hey, we finna get ready to go. We finna upload this video. Y'all share it because again, Facebook is not letting us go live for right now. We're gonna come back a little bit later on today with a couple more videos because again, we still gotta talk about that 1-month-old baby who was murdered here in Shreveport. So y'all give me a moment, we'll talk.